Awesome Sims 2 fans, welcome or welcome back. I am your host, Tipsy Mommy Shark. Today's speed build is going to be the cabins at Three Lakes vacation area. Everybody has this cool little vacation spot in their game when you load up vacations. And you know what? In all this time, I never actually built a vacation area in the lake right as like a beach lot. And I don't know why I never did that, but I did it this time because I wanted to build around the lake. So that's what we're doing. This particular build is more of a glamping kind of thing. I am working on one that's more of a rustic kind of campground. I think this one turned out lovely. I loved when I got there and it was in fall and it was beautiful. All my first pictures are done with a G shade that just always makes them look cute and cozy. Excuse me as I stutter. But I do think even without the G shade, when you come into this camp area in the fall and you put a bunch of different trees, it really does look beautiful. I'm sure you're all asking yourself, Tipsy Mommy, where did you come up with such an idea? And I have to be honest, some of it is because of the Adventure Await expansion pack for The Sims 4. It's out there, and I was thinking, well, I should put one of my builds that I did for Camp Three Lakes. I really don't need a whole lot of inspiration. I am always building and renovating. That's kind of my happy place. I grew up with my dad being a builder developer. I'm in real estate. I just love the smell of new home construction in the morning. So that's just where I come to de-stress. I have tons of builds that I would never even show people because they stink. But sometimes that's just where I go to hash out maybe something new. If I'm not used to using something and I want to do something more complex, then I also think of myself as a builder. I want to release stuff on YouTube that maybe if somebody wanted to follow along with me and build it themselves, because you can download stuff from people that kind of corrupts your game a little bit. And so I know how it is to want to follow along with somebody. And if things are a little bit too complex, it's hard to do. So I want to be that builder that there are plenty of people who could outbuild me any day of the week. But I feel like I could be that builder that if you don't want to download something, but you want to try something a little bit new, you can follow along with me. So I always have stuff that's going on in my neighborhoods. It's insane. And I have 3 different versions of the Sims 2 game. It's just the sickness that I have. So one of my things that I really do like is I like taking my Sims on vacation. Different Sims like different vacations. And even when I played The Sims 4, my family Sims love to go camping. I feel like that's a great thing if you have big families. And I feel like that's something cheap that your families could do. So my family Sims love to go camping. This is more of a glamping kind of area, but I was thinking of my 100 baby challenge. My Sim could not afford to come to this area, but we're gonna build something a little bit cheaper that maybe she could go to or her teens could go to. And I'm working on that right now. So hopefully she'll be able to afford something at some point. If you're watching my 100 Baby Challenge, you know my first core matriarch, all of whom are Tipsy Mommy in her younger years, that I did kill her, but there's no evidence of such a thing. But hopefully she'll be able to take a vacation someday. What I'm thinking for this main area is this is going to be a check-in with a nice little fireplace. And then I'm going to have a couple of cabins that you can rent. Also then upstairs, there will be some restrooms and maybe a hangout kind of place. You'll see that unfold. I put the cabins here because there's an issue in my particular game with weather. So my game is heavily modded. I say this all the time. Weather really affects my Sims. I'm going to have to release a video on my top favorite mods. Weather, I definitely like that it affects my Sims. The issue is because this particular neighborhood, I think is fall, winter. When you come in, you're just staying in tents and it's very rainy. I also have that the flu impacts my Sims a lot. So your Sims can end up very sick if they're cold a lot. So my campground here that is super cheap, you cannot go to in the winter. It's just too cold. So it's better for me if I have a mix of cabins and the tents, because you could freeze to death coming to one of my facilities. So between the temperature mod and the worst flu mod, I do kind of have to keep that in mind. If you have a normal game, you obviously do not have to be quite as careful as I do, but that is something to consider if you're playing with those type of mods, which I am, and I'm building all the time with that in mind, which makes it a little bit more realistic. Like, my Sims are going to be cold if they're coming here. If I was at, Tweaky Island, they're going to be hot, and I've got to worry about heat exhaustion. So there are things that I'm keeping an eye on in my game. And so now I did play test this in the fall, and it was working just fine. I did not play test it in the winter. I do have little fireplaces in the cabins, which you'll see. I might end up needing more heat in the winter. I'm not sure, but there is obviously a fireplace in here. So there is places for them to come warm up. I'm trying to think of what kind of heat and things. I want them to get cold. I want them to be a little bit uncomfortable so that they have to use the fireplaces. That's part of this mod too, that they will come in and actually turn the fireplaces on in order to warm up. It's because of my weather mod and the fact that I do like to bring my families to this area, and in the fall, it's a lot of soggy, rainy days that I built that little upstairs room with some games and things that families or maybe a young honeymooning couple could do inside. I'm one of those people that if it's storming, I just don't want my people outside and wet, even if they weren't going to get sick and get pneumonia and die. In my game, that's a possibility, or freeze to death. But even if that wasn't going to happen, just the idea, they're not going to want to be out in the cold, in the rain. So for me, that's why I already knew there was going to be some indoor activities, because when I'm coming here and I'm playing, I don't like that everything is just outside. And that's the kind of thing you come across a lot when you go to the buildings that are already done here at Three Lakes. There's a lot of log rolling and axe flinging, and even when you go to the food stalls, they're all outside. It's not that there's very much that you're coming inside and warming up. It's meant for very outdoorsy Sims, and maybe it's just because I'm not outdoorsy, but I want to come in and warm up. So that was my idea for over there in the lodge. And then we're going to do 2 cute little cabins. My first 2 cabins are going to have double beds and their private bathrooms. Then we're going to do 1 cabin with 2 single beds, because you know you have a young family with kids and they want to rent a secondary area. They all have the little stoves. I'm not sure that that's super safe for the kids' cabin now that I'm thinking about it, but oh well. Death has fun with me. I kill a lot of Sims. But anyway, so the idea was that there's heating elements in each one of the cabins, private baths, and for that, you know, you have to pay a little bit more than a basic campground. I had not planned how I wanted to do the roof on the bathrooms ahead of time. So I do get hung up a little bit here on roofing, but I did know that I wanted each cabin needed a front porch, and I wanted them to have a back porch because you're going to be able to look at the lake, which of course is just a beautiful reason to be renting these cabins. And then I also wanted there to be fishing because you can't go up to swimmable areas and fish. So I definitely needed a lake, even if it was little, somewhere in here. So I couldn't just fill it up with places to sleep. And then I needed some tent spaces. I wanted a bunch of trees because this is supposed to be like a wooded area. So these are some things that I'm thinking as I'm building. Thanks to the amazing power of my editing, we're going to jump in here after I do the second cabin. It is exactly a repeat of what I had built a moment ago. And I thought, well, that's boring. Let's not rehash it. But really, it's a carbon copy of the first building. And then what I want to do is swing around to the back, and I need what I think is one more cabin with 2 single beds, because what if I have a family and they've got some kids? In the end, I was very sorry that I did not build this particular cabin larger. I would have liked to have put a toy box and some playthings for the kids. I ended up with having to put the table outside on the corner in the porch for this particular cabin. And I didn't want to go back in and make it any larger once I got moving, because I still wanted to put axe throwing on the premises, and I wanted to put a small pond to do fishing. After all my ranting that I'm not an outdoorsy girl, I still wanted outdoor things for my Sims to do, because if you're going to come here, you're going to want your Sims to be doing some of these items. Also, I had a lot of problem with roofing on this building. I was very close to the place behind us, so that became another issue that I just have not had that problem in the past. And I just was ending up building too close, and some of that was just because of wanting to fit everything in. And I'd gone even with a bigger lot than I originally thought I needed. And you're going to see me fill up this lot, because other than some of those outdoorsy things that I wanted to put tents. I wanted to put fires, because if it's nice, you're not going to want to rent a room. You're going to want to be in a tent, or maybe the kids are going to want to be in a tent. I wanted to have tons of trees around. I want this to be the outdoor camping experience. I might be a glamping girl, but I want my Sims to be able to live that rustic mountain camping experience. That whole, if you're old enough to know who Grizzly Adams is, that's what I want them to be able to do. You guys will have to let me know in the comments down below how you guys like to go on vacation. I typically do rotational gameplay when I get a chance to play. And for me personally, I do 3 days on vacation, and I like there to be a lot of stuff going on where my Sims stay, because typically that's where the majority of whatever's going to go on happens. Not that they won't go out and buy clothes, or if they want to buy a souvenir or something like that, that will happen. But I just feel like the majority of my time is spent wherever we're staying. So I don't know. You'll have to tell me. Maybe I just play with vacations wrong, because I'm always in a hurry. I only get, when I do rotations, I only play 3 days at a time anyway, just to get through the rotation. And I don't get a lot of gameplay time with my Sims, because I'm either working or editing or making videos. So I try to do as much as I can on the lots that I have. So I did like, when I came to this lot, there was plenty to do, and my Sims could relax. Like, it was almost like, oh, I'm on vacation because my Sims are on vacation. And that was kind of nice, because there was just enough to do. I would have maybe liked having a little restaurant here. I do think I put down later a grill so they could grill their fish. I think I did that on my own at another time. Like I said, I did go in and remove some of those big logs in the front. I put one of them in the back, and I put some of the Sims 4 to 2 conversion stuff in my game, just because, I just wanted to add a little bit more. But I did go in and play test this exactly the way that it was, and it was fall, and it was just lovely, even without the G shade, because I don't play. I think I like The Sims just the way it is. I mean, I like the G shade for picturesque, because it blurs out the back, and takes lovely pictures, but it was just beautiful in the fall. In fact, I am going to add more trees to my lots just because I thought it was so stunning in the fall, with extra trees. I think because there's so many pine trees, you almost miss it. So I recommend that to anybody who's playing in Three Lakes. It's definitely worth it to add a couple of extra plants and trees, because the pop of colors in the fall, when I came in, I was like, oh yeah, this definitely is something. In a second here, you're going to see me add a pond, and I did do a couple of pathing and the cute little plants underneath. Then I do think I put some extra dirt around just to add that kind of, camp vibe. And I had to move some things around just because, I couldn't put the pond anywhere else. But I want to thank you all for watching. Please take a moment to like and subscribe for more Sims 2 nostalgic kind of content. And I look forward to talking to you all in the next one. Please let me know, how do you all vacation in your Sims world? Happy simming, and bye-bye.